My beloved child, do not be quick to call the silent days a sign of abandonment. For many times, the quietest place is where my hand is touching the deepest parts of your soul. When you do not hear an answer, when you do not see a door opening, when you do not feel the wind changing direction, you may think that everything is standing still, but in my kingdom, the seed often breaks open before the ground begins to tremble. Be still, and know that I am God. As Psalm 46:10 reminds you, means that silence is not an empty space without meaning, but a sacred room where I teach you to trust without needing to see. There are blessings that, if they came too soon, would overwhelm you. There are doors that, if opened while your roots are still shallow, would cause the winds of life to knock you down. That is why I cover you for a time, not to hide you from my love, but to hide you within my love, so that the fragile places in you may be bandaged, the weary places may breathe again, and the places that once feared may learn to stand firmly in the light. Remember that I never waste your tears. Every night you endured in silence. Every time you prayed without knowing whether your words had reached heaven. Every moment you still chose to keep walking, though your heart was trembling. All of it is kept by me as a precious offering before my face. All things work together for good to those who love God. As Romans 8:28 says, does not mean that everything is pleasant, but that in my hands, even pain can become material for building glory. You have not been crushed in the furnace of testing. You are being purified from what no longer belongs to the new season. The fire did not come to end you, but to separate gold from dross. The pressure did not come to make you lose your shape, but to reveal the image I placed within you before the foundation of the world. When you feel as though you have been brought to a stop, I see you being anchored more deeply. When you think you are moving more slowly than others, I see you learning the rhythm of heaven. There is a story you need to keep in your heart. Before Elijah stood on Mount Carmel and witnessed fire falling from heaven, I led him to the brook Cherith, a hidden place where there was no crowd to applaud him, no platform, no visible proof of the victory that was about to come. There, I fed him by ravens and by the water of the brook, day by day, quietly yet sufficiently. And when the brook dried up, it did not mean that I had abandoned him. It was a sign that I was moving him into the next step. Do you see? Sometimes the old source dries up, not because I have forgotten you, but because I am calling you to leave a place that has completed its purpose. The Lord will guide you continually, as Isaiah 58:11 declares. Speaks precisely in the moments when you do not understand the path. So you may know that my guidance does not always come through thunder. Many times it comes through a dried-up brook, a closed door, or a very gentle prompting within your soul. And like Elijah, you are not defined by your hidden place, but by what I am preparing within you when no one is watching. So, my child, do not see the hidden season as a shameful delay. What I nurture in the dark will not die simply because the world has not yet recognized it. A seed does not need applause in order to take root. It only needs soil, water, time, and the life I have placed within it. Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. As Isaiah 40:31 says, does not mean they will never grow weary, but that they will be lifted up when my appointed time comes. You once thought silence was a period at the end of the sentence, but I am turning it into a comma of grace. You once thought the holy dreams within your heart had grown cold, but I have only been covering them beneath the quiet ashes to protect the fire from winds that come at the wrong time. Do not condemn yourself for the days when you do not shine brightly. Even the dawn begins with a thin line of light on the horizon before it gradually takes over the whole sky. What I am doing within you is the same: quiet first, deep first, steadfast first, and only then revealed. Now I want you to step across the new threshold with a heart that is not hasty, but full of faith. The season that has passed has taught you patience, softened what was hardened, and stripped away from you the need to be seen, praised, and understood immediately. And because of that, you are more ready than you think. He has made everything beautiful in its time. As Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, is not a lullaby to make you sleep, but an assurance that my timing is neither late nor premature. When I open a door, no one can shut it. When I send you forth, no darkness can keep you in the old place. Go with gentleness, because you have been healed. Go with humility, because you have been upheld. Go with courage, because I go before you. The things you thought were lost will be restored by me in a purer way. The things you have never seen will be revealed by me when your heart is quiet enough to receive them. My child, rise in my light, not to prove yourself to the world, but to live fully what I placed within you from the beginning. My beloved child, what I have placed in your heart is not a passing emotion that fades like the morning mist. It is a calling that was sown before you even understood yourself. There were times when you thought you were only a small person in the middle of a vast stream of life. But I see you with different eyes. I see a vessel shaped in my hands, a lamp filled with oil, a heart that has gone through tears in order to know how to show mercy to those who are weeping. I did not bring you through dark seasons, so you would keep those experiences only for yourself. I heal you so that through you, others may also recognize that hope still remains. I lift you from the dust so that your hands may know how to lift those who have fallen. You are the light of the world. As Matthew 5:14 says, is not a compliment meant to make you proud, but a reminder that the light within you was not born to remain hidden forever beneath fear. Step out, not because you are perfect, but because I, the perfect one, I am with you. Do not wait until the day you no longer tremble before you obey, because true faith often begins in the very moment when your knees are still weak. Yet your heart still says, Father, I belong to you. I am not looking for vessels that believe they are sufficient in themselves. I am looking for vessels willing to open so that I may fill them. You once thought weakness was the reason you could not be used. But I said to Paul, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. As 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, so do not be ashamed of the cracks that once caused you pain. Through those very cracks, my light can shine out more gently, more truthfully, and more closely to souls that are exhausted. When you do not know what to say, let your heart become still. I will place the right words upon your lips at the right time. When you do not know where to go, take one step in peace. I will open the way beneath your feet. There was a man named Ananias in Damascus. He was not a king, not a prophet renowned in the public square, nor someone often spoken of by the crowds. He was only a quiet disciple. But when I called him to meet Saul, the one who had persecuted the church, he trembled because the memory of my people was still full of wounds. Even so, when I said that Saul was my chosen instrument, Ananias went. He laid his hands on the man many wanted to avoid, called him Brother Saul. And from that small act of obedience, Saul's eyes were opened, and Paul became the one who carried the gospel to many nations. Do you see? One quiet step of obedience can open an eternal stream. Do not look down on what I ask you to do just because it is not loud. Many great doors in my kingdom are opened by very humble hands. But when you are sent forth, keep your heart pure before me. Do not let applause make you forget the one who lit the light within you. And do not let criticism cause you to return to the old darkness. The world changes very quickly. Today it may praise you. Tomorrow it may doubt you. Today it may open doors. Tomorrow it may turn its back. Therefore, do not build your identity on the fragile recognition of human beings. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for men. As Colossians 3:23 says, "We will keep you from pride when you succeed, and from bitterness when you are misunderstood. If you serve in order to be seen, you will grow weary when you are overlooked. But if you serve because you love me, even in a place where no one knows, your heart will still be nourished by my presence. I do not promise that the path of being sent will always feel soft beneath your feet. You may encounter eyes that do not understand, doors that do not open, and words that wound your heart. But my beloved child, I never send you into a place where my grace has not gone before you. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." As Joshua 1:9 says, "Is the word I place like a staff in your hand and a lamp before your path. When you are weary, I will be your renewed strength. When you are discouraged, I will be the whisper that lifts you up again. When you feel small, remember that my plan has never depended on your size, but on my presence within you. Therefore, walk in humility, but do not walk in fear. Love, but do not lose the truth. Serve, but do not depart from the spring of living water. Every prayer you offer in secret, every hand you extend to the hopeless, every time you choose obedience instead of hiding, is woven into the holy work I am doing through the generations. We are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works. As Ephesians 2:10 says, means that your life is not a drifting accident, but a manuscript bearing the mark of my hand. My child, the hidden season has taught you how to listen. Now the season of being sent will teach you how to walk. Rise in the light I have given you. Bring peace into places of chaos. Bring hope into places of ashes. And when others see what is good through you, gently direct all glory back to me. For I am the one who called you, kept you, healed you, and now sends you forth. My beloved child, when I widen the sky before you, do not let your heart shrink back in fear. The place I lead you to is never a land where I am absent, and what I place in your hands is never greater than the grace I place within your soul. You may look at the new responsibility and wonder whether you have enough strength. But I do not call you so that you will rely on your own power. I call you so that you will learn to walk in my power. As it is written in Philippians 1:6, He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ. Understand, then, that I do not begin a holy work and abandon it halfway. I do not sow a seed and then forget to water it. I do not light a lamp and then allow the winds of life to put it out. What I have placed within you bears the seal of eternity. And even though the journey has turns you do not yet understand, my hand is still keeping that sacred thread from breaking. There were trials you once went through when all you could see was pain. All you could see was loss. All you could feel was your heart being pressed to its limit. But today I want you to look back with eyes that have been more deeply healed. Not every fire comes to burn everything down. There are fires that are permitted to touch you, so that pure gold may be revealed in your faith. Your faith, more precious than gold that perishes, though tested by fire, as 1 Peter 1:7 reminds you, means that the true value of the soul is not always revealed in peaceful days, but often shines forth when everything around it is shaking. I do not delight in seeing you suffer, but I know how to turn pain into depth, tears into tenderness, and seasons of pressure into the new wine of grace. The false things within you fell away not to leave you empty, but so that those places could be filled with humility, trust, and a pure love for me. Remember Jabez, a man whose name was tied to pain, as though the past had tried to place a seal upon his identity. But he did not allow that name to become his prison. He called upon me, asking that I would bless him, enlarge his territory, be with him, and keep him from evil, as recorded in 1 Chronicles 4:10, and I granted his request. Do you see? I can take a life once named by sorrow and turn it into a testimony of expansion. When I enlarge your borders, it is not only about adding more work, more responsibility, or more places for you to step into. It is me expanding the capacity within you, so that your heart may know how to love more deeply, believe more strongly, endure more steadfastly, and carry my presence into territories where you once thought you did not have enough courage to set foot. Therefore, do not ask for a smaller life merely so you can feel safe. Ask for a heart large enough to receive what I am doing. In this season, what matters is not that you can control every detail, but that you can keep your peace while you have not yet seen the whole picture. The past has been placed beneath the blood of my grace. Do not go back and dig up what I have already forgiven. And do not allow old memories to dress in chains a soul that has been called to freedom. The future does not need to be held by your anxiety either, because tomorrow has not yet arrived, but I am already there. Do not worry about tomorrow. As Matthew 6:34 says, is not a command for you to live carelessly, but an invitation for you to return to the present moment, where today's grace is sufficient for today, right here, in this breath, in this small task, in this quiet obedience. I am writing another line into the sacred story of your life. You do not need to run ahead of me, nor should you fall behind because of fear. Walk with me, one step at a time, like a child placing their hand in the hand of the Father. If there are times when you pass through deep waters, remember my word in Isaiah 43:2, that when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you walk through the fire, the flames will not burn you. I did not promise that you would never face fierce winds, but I promise that those fierce winds do not have the authority to determine your ending. I did not promise that every door would open according to your desire, but I promised that the right door will open at the right time, and that a closed door can also be a fence of love protecting you from what is not meant for you. When you find yourself standing before a great sea with no visible way across, do not look only at the waves. Look at the one who is standing with you on the shore. I am the one who can make a way where you thought there was only obstruction, soften hearts where you thought there was only rejection, and cause flowers to bloom on the very ground you once believed was barren. So, my child, answer the call with a yes that needs no display, but is true from the depths of your heart. Stand firm without becoming hardened. Move forward without becoming proud, and receive without forgetting the source of the blessing. When I lift you up, bow your heart down in gratitude. When I expand your influence, keep your soul closer to me than ever before. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. As Proverbs 3:5 says, we will keep you from growing weary by trying to be the Lord of your own life. You do not have to write the ending of this story by yourself. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the one who called you from the hidden place, refined you in the fire of love, led you through seasons of transition, and will complete what I have appointed. Be at peace. My beloved child, your journey is not drifting without meaning. It is flowing into the great river of my will. And what I do through your life will echo farther than your eyes can see today. My beloved child, there are roads I lead you through that. from the outside seem to carry no answer from heaven at all. You pray, yet your heart still feels empty. You wait, yet the door remains closed. You wake up on an ordinary morning, yet your chest feels heavy, as though covered by clouds. But my child, do not be quick to conclude that silence is proof I have grown distant from you. There are times when I do not speak loudly, because I am teaching your soul to recognize my presence in the depth of stillness. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted, as Psalm 34:18 says. Does not mean that I come only when everything is radiant. It reminds you that even in the place where you feel most shattered, I am still nearer than your breath. That silence is not a wall separating you from me. Many times, it is a sacred room where I remove from you the habit of living by feelings, so that you may learn to cling to enduring truth. You may go through separations that leave your heart confused, relationships that were once warm but now feel unfamiliar, and places that once seemed like shelters but suddenly no longer carry enough peace for you to remain. You may think you have been rejected, but I say to you, you are not being cast aside, you are being set apart. Not everyone who leaves you is an enemy, and not every closed door is a punishment. There are people who were sent only to walk with you through one stretch of the road, and then I gently separate them from you, so you will not keep trying to wear a garment that has become too tight for the new season. Behold, I am about to do a new thing, now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? As Isaiah 43:19 says, is the word I placed before your eyes, so that you may understand that the new thing cannot always be born inside the old vessel. If you keep holding tightly to what has already fulfilled its purpose, your hands will not be open enough to receive what I am preparing. Look back at Paul's story in Acts 16, and you will see a mysterious truth. He wanted to preach the word in Asia, but the Holy Spirit prevented him. He intended to go into Bithynia, but the Spirit of Jesus did not allow him. Seen with natural eyes, those were closed doors, blocked plans, and interrupted directions. But in the night, I gave him a vision of a Macedonian man pleading for help, and that very hindrance opened the way for the gospel to enter another land. Do you see? Sometimes I do not allow you to enter the place you desire, not because I am against you, but because I am leading you to a place where a deeper cry is waiting for you. When I close one path, do not only weep before the hinge that is shut, listen, because in the quiet night, I may be calling you toward a wider shore. The losses you once called failure can become deliverance in my hands. The misunderstandings that once wounded you can become, through my grace, a blade that cuts away your dependence on human approval. The dreams that seem to fall to the ground can still become seeds for another harvest if they are placed in my hands. My beloved child, I do not allow the soil of your life to be turned over in order to confuse you. I am clearing away old roots, removing sharp stones from within you, and preparing soft ground for something holier to sprout. Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, whose trust is the Lord. As Jeremiah 17:7 reminds you, means that your true roots are not in people, position, opportunities, or the results you see before you, but in me, the one who does not change amid all change. There are lessons you cannot learn when everything is convenient. When the road is smooth, you may think peace comes from pleasant circumstances, but when the storm rises and your heart still does not depart from me, that is when you truly learn what real peace is. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. As John 14:27 says, is not a promise that there will be no more waves around you, but a promise that there will be a place within you that is not ruled by the storm. You will mature as you learn to trust, even when you do not understand everything, to keep walking even when you do not yet see the result, and to know that you belong to me even when no one confirms it. Faith is not a flame of emotion that flares up and then fades. Faith is the anchoring of the soul in my faithful nature, even when the sky has not yet changed color. Therefore, when you stand at a crossroads and everything familiar seems to slip from your hands, do not panic. Outwardly, you may see brokenness, but inwardly, I am forming a more steadfast person. The noise around you may make you feel as though you are losing, but I am measuring your growth by something deeper. Whether you can still keep a tender heart, still pray when there is no answer, still choose forgiveness when you are misunderstood, and still keep peace when you cannot control everything. Suffering produces perseverance, character, and character. Hope, as Romans 5:3-4 says, is the quiet path I use to shape souls of weight and substance. You are not forgotten in this season. You are being deepened. Your value is not diminished because you have to wait. You are being refined so that what I have placed within you will not only shine in the sunlight, but also shine in the night. Let me comfort your heart. What leaves cannot steal the destiny I have placed upon you. Closed doors cannot lock away the promise I have spoken over your life. Silent days cannot make me hear you any less. Because before a prayer becomes spoken words, I already know the sigh within your heart. Remain still in me, but do not despair. Release the old, but do not lose hope. Cry if you need to, but do not call your tears the ending. I am moving you from the safe place into the anointed place, from the familiar place into the fruitful place, from dependence on outward signs into the deep faith that I am still reigning. And then, when the time comes, you will look back on this silent season and understand that I was never absent. I was simply working in the deepest place, so that when you step out, you will not only carry a testimony on your lips, but a peace that has been tested in the fire and still remains whole in me. My beloved child, do not see the days when no one sees you as useless days, for it is often in that hidden stillness that I measure the depth of the truest love. There are things you do that are never mentioned by name, sacrifices you offer without a single hand to comfort you, times when you choose what is right while no one stands beside you to praise your courage. But my child, my eyes do not sleep, my heart does not forget, and heaven does not overlook even one drop of your quiet faithfulness. When you serve without being answered, when you love without receiving tenderness in return, when you still keep your heart upright in a place without a stage, that is when the true fragrance of your soul rises before me. Your Father, who sees in secret, will reward you. As Matthew 6:4 says, is not only a promise of reward, but a comfort that your hidden life has not been buried in forgetfulness. What you do for me, even if it is as small as an intercessory prayer in the night, still carries weight in eternity. I know there have been times when you grew weary of obeying without being understood. You wanted to explain, to prove yourself, to have someone see your effort so your heart would feel less alone. But my beloved child, I am teaching you a deeper freedom, freedom from the need to be validated by the world before you know your own worth. True obedience does not need a spotlight shining upon it. It grows like roots beneath the ground, quiet but strong enough to keep the whole tree standing when the storm comes. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for men. As Colossians 3:23 says, will keep you from bitterness when you are overlooked and from pride when you are seen. If you do things for praise, you will tremble before criticism. But if you do them out of love for me, you will stand firm even when silence is the only response. I am not looking for a dazzling outward performance. I am looking for a heart that knows how to say yes even when that yes brings you no immediate benefit. Remember the widow of Zarephath in the days of famine, when the flour in the jar was only a handful and the oil in the jug was almost gone. She did not stand before a crowd, was not placed in an honored position, and had nothing in her hands except one final meal for herself and her son. But when Elijah came and my word touched that seemingly hopeless situation, she chose to trust through a very small act, offering the little she had left before seeing the miracle. And then the jar of flour was not used up, and the jug of oil did not run dry, because obedience in the hidden place opened the flow of my provision. Do you see? I do not always begin with great things. Many times I begin with the little oil that remains, the last handful of flour, a quiet decision, one moment when you release what you fear losing most. When you place your small portion into my hands, I can turn it into a testimony of faithfulness. There is another lesson I am engraving deeply within you. Trust is not about holding the map, but about holding my hand. Many times you have wanted to understand every turn in the road, to know why that door closed, why that person left, why the plan you cherished dissolved like clouds before the wind. But my child, your understanding has limits, while my love does not. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. As Proverbs 3:5 says, is the word I place like an anchor in your heart, so that when reason can no longer draw the path, faith still knows how to lean upon the one who never loses his way. Letting go is not failure. Letting go in me is a form of worship. It says that you believe I am wiser than your control, kinder than your fear, and more faithful than anything you can see in the present. Therefore, do not hate the classroom of testing simply because it is not gentle in the way you hoped. There are things books can teach the mind, but only fire can mature the soul. There are lessons you may hear with your ears many times, but only when you pass through the dark night do you truly know that I am your refuge. The testing of your faith produces perseverance. As James 1:3 says, does not make your pain lighter, but it lets you know that your pain is not meaningless in my hands. I use seasons of pressure to draw immaturity out of you, days of waiting to form endurance within you, and quiet spaces to make the ears of your soul more familiar with my voice than with the noise of the world. You are not left in the fire alone. I am the one who walks with you in the fire. Just as I was present with the 3 young men in the blazing furnace, so that the flame only burns away the bonds without destroying the one who belongs to me. Then one day, you will look back and understand that the seasons that seemed darkest were the very places where I touched you most deeply. The closed doors protected you from paths that were not meant for you. The silent words became the foundation upon which my voice grew clearer. The times you were misunderstood taught you not to live by the approval of people. The lonely nights opened a wide space where you could hear the heartbeat of grace. He knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold. As Job 23:10 says, is the testimony of a soul that has been tested without losing faith. So it is with you, my beloved. I did not allow you to pass through testing so that you would become cold and hardened, but so that you would become pure, tender, steadfast, and brighter in love. Receive this season with peaceful trust, not because everything is pleasant, but because I am present in everything you do not understand. Every tear of yours is kept by me. Every sigh is heard by me. And every minute of waiting is woven by me into the holy work I am completing within you. Testing is not the rod of rejection, but the hand of love reshaping your inner being. I do not require you to be perfect before you come to me. I only invite you to remain faithful, tender-hearted, and willing to stay in my hands. When this season passes, you will not come out merely as someone who survived the storm, but as someone who met me in the storm. You will carry in your eyes a peace that is not easily taken away. In your words, a gentleness refined through pain, and in your steps a steadiness that does not come from your own strength. And you will know, deep within your heart, that I never left you. I was only preparing you for something higher, so that every breath you take may reflect my life. Every small thing you do may carry the fragrance of obedience, and your whole life may become a quiet song declaring, you belong to me, and I am making all things new within you. My beloved child, do not be quick to see the days when you are brought into the hidden place as a sign of delay. For not everything that is concealed has been forgotten. There are treasures that must be kept in the depths until the appointed time comes for them to shine. There are souls I must set apart from the noise so they can hear again their true heartbeat in me. When you look around and see others seemingly moving faster, being called by name more often, and having wider doors open before them, your heart may quietly ache and wonder, what about me? But I say to you that you have not been left behind. You are being kept in the palm of my hand. Your life is hidden with Christ in God. As Colossians 3:3 says, reminds you that the hidden place is not a place of rejection, but a place covered by holy protection. I draw you away from the eyes of the world not because you have no value, but because you are too precious to be exposed, while the deeper places within you are still being healed by me. In that silence, I am doing a work that applause could never accomplish. I am touching the wounds you once hid beneath the appearance of normalcy, the memories that seem to have fallen asleep but still quietly made you afraid, and the old words that once caused you to doubt yourself. I do not only wipe the tears from your face, I go deeper, to the very place where those tears began. I am removing from you the garments of false identity, the garment of shame, the garment of comparison, the garment of fear of rejection, and the garment of needing to please everyone in order to feel worthy of love. You have worn them for so long that you began to think they were who you are. But I knew you before your wounds ever named you. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. As Jeremiah 1:5 says, is not only a word about predestination, but a word of love declaring that you did not begin with the opinions of people, nor do you end in the failures of the past. You began in my intention, and you are defined by my voice. Remember Moses, my child. He once lived in the palace of Egypt, raised among power, influence, and status. But before I used him to stand before Pharaoh, I led him into the wilderness of Midian for many long years, where there was no throne, no one to applaud him, only sheep, desert winds, and days that repeated themselves in silence, seen through human eyes that may have looked like a step backward, but in my eyes, it was a refining furnace. There, I brought down the hastiness within him, healed the fear within him, and taught him to hear my voice from the bush that burned but was not consumed. Then, at the appointed time, the man who once thought he did not have enough words to speak was sent by me with a staff in his hand and a promise in his soul. Do you see? The lonely place did not cause Moses to lose his destiny. It made him deep enough to carry that destiny. In the same way, your hidden season is not the place where your story ends, but the place where I am forming someone who can step into the next chapter without being crushed by the weight of being sent. I know you want to see results, to see the sprout break through the soil, to have a sign that all this waiting has not been meaningless. But my beloved child, do not dig up the seed simply because you are impatient to check whether life is there. A seed does not need the eyes of a crowd in order to germinate. It needs darkness, deep soil, moisture, and time. The darkness of the soil is not a grave, but the cradle of new life. Unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone, but if it dies, it bears much fruit. As John 12:24 reveals to you a holy principle, there are old things that must fall away from you so that new life may be born. I am breaking open the shell of old habits, old reactions, and old fears, so that the roots of your faith may cling more deeply to me than to the recognition of the world. In this season, I am also teaching you a steadfastness that does not depend on outward light. You once knew me in days of signs, of clear comfort, of confirmations that warmed your heart. But now I want you to know me more deeply, to the point that when there is no noise to support you, you still do not fall when no one understands. You still do not lose your peace when there is not yet an answer. You still do not let go of the promise. Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. As Isaiah 40:31 says, does not mean that those who wait will always feel strong, but that in the waiting, I quietly renew their strength from within. You are learning to stand in the dark without fearing the dark, because you know that the Creator of light is with you. That is the depth I need to build within you before I entrust you with wider influence. Because blessing, if it comes while the foundation is still weak, can become a burden, and glory, if placed upon a soul that has not been deeply anchored, can cause that soul to tilt and collapse. Therefore, do not see patience as punishment. Patience is the room where I teach you to mature. I am shaping within you faithfulness when no one sees, humility when no one praises, purity when no one gives you an opportunity, and the ability to discern my voice among countless other voices calling out. I do not want you to step out with talent, but without identity, with zeal, but without peace, with gifts, but without surrender. I want that when you are revealed. Others will not only see what you do, but sense the one who lives within you. We are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works. As Ephesians 2:10 says, means that you are not an accidental product of circumstance, but a work of grace whose every line I have carefully formed in the hidden place. There will come a day when you step out of this hidden season, but you will no longer step out as you once were. You will not need to rush to prove yourself, because I have affirmed you in the quiet place. You will no longer tremble before the judgment of people as you once did, because you have learned to see yourself through my eyes. You will speak less, but your words will carry more weight. You will serve more gently, but your presence will carry deeper peace. You will not try to seize the light, because my light will shine on its own through a soul that has been made clean. When I lift you up, it will not merely be your appearance before human eyes, but the revealing of the work I have quietly completed within you. Be at peace. My beloved child, I have never forgotten you in the days when no one called your name. I have never left you in the months and years when you felt as though you were standing still. Every moment that seemed meaningless is being placed by me into the foundation of what is to come. Every time you choose to remain in faith, every time you allow me to heal you instead of hiding yourself, every time you release a false definition of who you are, you are being prepared for a new capacity of grace. What no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no human heart has imagined, God has prepared for those who love Him. As 1 Corinthians 2:9 says, is the word I place like a dawn before your soul. Let me complete what I am doing. Do not break the sprout too soon. Do not despise the deep soil, and do not fear the darkness of preparation. At the appointed time, I will call you to step out, and the world will not only see a person who has matured, but will see my fingerprints, my breath, my light, and my faithfulness shining through your life. My beloved child, there are movements of the Holy Spirit that do not come like thunder shaking the mountains, but like a very gentle breeze touching the deepest hidden place within you. You cannot always explain it with words, nor measure it with reason, but your soul knows something is being awakened. Doors that once stood silent begin to show signs of movement. Promises that seem to have fallen asleep suddenly grow warm again in your heart. And dreams that had lain beneath the ashes quietly begin to glow with fire once more. This is not the restlessness of emotion, nor the haste of the flesh. It is my breath letting you know that the hidden season is giving way to the season of stepping out. The wind blows where it wishes. You hear its sound, but you do not know where it comes from or where it is going. As John 3:8 reminds you, means that the work of the Holy Spirit often surpasses what the mind can grasp. Yet a surrendered heart will recognize my footsteps. The first thing you will feel will not be applause, nor a radiant appearance before the eyes of the world, but a strange peace beginning to replace the anxiety that had once become familiar. Before, you tried to hold tightly to every detail, to predict everything, to protect yourself from disappointment by controlling every path. But now, I am placing within you a holy stillness, where you do not need to know everything and yet can remain at peace. Do not need to see enough and yet can still believe. Do not need to control all things and yet can still walk forward. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. As John 14:27 says, is not a promise of a life without movement or disturbance, but a promise of a soul no longer ruled by disturbance. When that peace comes, recognize this: I am arranging the timing, preparing the people, opening the right door, and clearing away your eyes have not yet fully seen. But my child, keep your heart truly clean as the new season begins to open. I do not lift you up so that you may become intoxicated with the gaze of the world, nor do I place you in a wider place so that you may build a throne for yourself, nor do I allow you to turn grace into a stage for the ego. True light does not need to shout in order to prove that it is light. It simply shines, and darkness retreats on its own. Let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. As Matthew 5:16 teaches you, means that the purpose of shining is not for people to stop at you, but for them to look through you and see me. Therefore, when I expand your influence, walk in humility. When others are touched through your life, quietly give the glory back to me. When opportunity comes, do not ask how you can stand out. Ask how my love can be revealed more clearly. You once thought your wounds were only things that made you weaker, but in my hands, even the places that hurt the most can become vessels holding oil of healing. The nights when you cried alone did not drift into emptiness. The times when you broke down and were lifted up again were not meant only for you. The seasons when you thought you had lost all strength were the very places where I placed within you compassion for others who are also weary. He comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort others. As 2 Corinthians 1:4 reveals to you a mysterious truth, the grace you receive does not stop within you, but becomes a stream flowing through you to others. A healed scar is no longer a sign of shame. It becomes a testimony that I entered that place of pain and brought forth life. Remember the man who lived among the tombs in the region of the Gerasenes, a soul chained in suffering, feared by people, and torn apart within himself in darkness. When my son came, he did not avoid that ruined place, nor was he disgusted by that broken condition, but he set that man free with power and compassion. Then, when the man begged to follow him, the Lord did not allow him to follow in the way he had imagined, but said to him to go home and tell his own people what the Lord had done for him and how much mercy he had shown him. As told in Mark 5:19. Do you see? the one who had once been identified by chains was sent forth with a testimony. The place that had been his deepest darkness became the place where light was proclaimed. In the same way, I do not allow your past to become a prison. I turn it into a testimony. I do not allow you to live in bitterness, but I make you someone who knows how to lift others with compassion that has been sanctified. Therefore, do not be afraid when I use the very things you once wanted to hide in order to bring hope to others. You do not need to tell every pain in order to be recognized, nor do you need to open every wound before the crowd to prove what you have endured. Let the Holy Spirit teach you what should be spoken, when it should be spoken, and with what kind of heart it should be spoken. There are words that carry weight precisely because they were born from fire. But that fire must be purified by me from resentment before it becomes light. I want your words to carry life, not complaint, anointing, not the ashes of bitterness, the gentleness of one who has been healed, not the sharp edge of one who is still trying to defend themselves. He gives a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning. As Isaiah 61:3 says, is what I am doing within you, turning ashes into beauty, wounds into compassion, brokenness into a voice capable of calling others back to hope. When you step out, remember that you do not need to chase the spotlight. If I am within you, my light will find its own way to shine. You do not need to strain yourself to prove your ability, because what changes human hearts is not your performance, but my presence working through a surrendered heart. Walk gently, but do not walk weakly. Be humble, but do not shrink back in fear. Serve, but do not forget to return to the spring of living water. Every step you take in obedience will be guided by me. Every word you speak in love will be breathed upon by me with life. Every hand you extend to the suffering will carry the mark of the one who once lifted you up. So, my beloved child, listen to the deep movement within your soul. It is my voice calling you out of withdrawal, out of doubt, and out of the habit of seeing yourself only as someone who survived pain. You have not merely survived, you are being sent. You have not merely been healed, you are becoming an instrument of healing. You do not merely carry the memory of the fire, you carry a flame that has been refined. Let peace be the sign. Humility be your garment. Love be your motive. And the Holy Spirit be your guide. I go before you. I go with you. And I will work through you in a way that is gentle, yet full of power. When others encounter you, may they not only see your story, but feel my mercy. Not only hear your words, but hear the sound of hope. Not only see a person who has overcome testing, but see my light shining through a soul that was once broken but has now been made new in grace. My beloved child, before I entrust you with greater things, I often bring you back to the smallest things, because there, the true condition of the heart is revealed more clearly than by any declaration. Do not look down on a prayer no one hears, a gentle act no one recognizes, a time when you choose patience instead of retaliation, or a quiet step of obedience in the long night. In the eyes of the world, such things may seem too small to be remembered, but in my kingdom, even the smallest seed can carry within it an entire harvest. Whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. As Luke 16:10 says, is not only a teaching about duty, but a holy law of maturity. I am not looking for those who know how to appear brilliantly before the crowd while neglecting uprightness in the hidden place. I am looking for a heart that still loves me when no one praises it, still chooses what is right when no one is watching, and still keeps its lamp burning even when the room around it is silent. It is there that true power begins to sprout. Perhaps you think the season of being sent is the time to move quickly, to seize every opportunity, to prove that you are ready. But my child, Do not let the hurried rhythm of the world pull your soul away from my rhythm of peace. Not every open door is a door I want you to enter, and not every invitation that sounds beautiful carries the breath of heaven. There are things that are good but not yet in the right time. There are paths that look bright outwardly but do not belong to my will for you. Therefore, learn to walk slowly but deeply, to listen carefully with a tender heart, and to wait for me without anxiety. Your ears will hear a word behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." As Isaiah 30:21 says, is the word I place within you to remind you that my guidance often does not compete with the noise, but becomes clear in a soul that knows how to be still. When you walk slowly in the Holy Spirit, you are not falling behind. You are being positioned in the right place, at the right time, under the right grace. Remember the young Israelite girl who had been taken captive to Syria and lived in the house of Naaman, a great commander who suffered from leprosy. That girl had no status, no platform, and no power to change an entire nation. Yet, in her smallness, she spoke a word full of faith. If only her master would go to the prophet of God. A simple sentence from the mouth of one considered lowly opened the way for Naaman to meet Elisha. Humble himself by washing 7 times in the Jordan River, and be healed. Do you see? I can use a faithful heart in a place the world does not notice to begin a great miracle. Do not say that what you do is too small. Do not think that your voice is insignificant. When that word is born from faith and placed at the right time in my hands, it can become a key that opens healing for another soul. But when I use you, you must remember who you are before me. You are the vessel, not the source of the oil. You are the lamp, not the flame that exists by itself. You are the branch, not the vine that sustains life. Apart from me, you can do nothing. As John 15:5 says, is not meant to make you feel small in shame, but to keep you safe in the truth. When grace lifts you up, bow your heart lower. When others are touched through your words, do not let your heart secretly build a throne for itself. When praise comes, let it pass through you and rise up to me, because the glory does not belong to the instrument, but to the one who holds that instrument in his hand. Humility does not make you weaker. It makes you steady enough to carry blessing without being led astray by blessing. My beloved child, what I am doing within you is not only so that you may survive seasons of pain, but so that you may become a sign of my mercy among a weary generation. The wounds I have touched are no longer chains holding you in the past. They can become places where healing oil flows out to others. The nights when you cried were not meaningless. The times when you thought you were breaking were not wasted. The periods when you wondered why you had to go through such things are now being transformed by me into compassion, wisdom, and a voice that carries weight. He comforts us in all our troubles, so that we may be able to comfort others. As 2 Corinthians 1:4 reveals to you, means that the comfort I give does not stop within you. It desires to become cool water flowing through you to souls that are dry and weary. Therefore, as you step into this new season of movement, let the question within your heart be changed. Do not only ask why you had to hurt, why you had to wait, or why you had to pass through winding paths you did not choose. Ask me, Father, where do you want to use this to bring life when pain is placed in my hands? It is no longer merely a memory, it becomes a testimony. When weakness is surrendered beneath my grace, it is no longer merely a limitation. It becomes a place where my power is revealed. When you stop living to protect your own image and begin living to reveal my love, you will understand that mission is not a heavy garment placed upon your shoulders, but the flow of my life through a heart willing to be opened. Do not grow weary in the things no one names. Do not become discouraged when your faithfulness seems not yet to have produced fruit. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not give up. As Galatians 6:9 says, "Is the word I place like a spark beneath the ashes, so that you may continue to love, continue to pray, and continue to walk even when the field before your eyes still looks empty. I see every seed. I remember every tear. I know every quiet decision you have chosen because you love me. And in the right season, what was sown in silence will rise up in glory, not to exalt you, but to prove that my hand has never stopped working. Go, but go in peace. Serve, but serve in humility. Carry the light, but do not chase attention. Open your heart to the suffering, but do not forget to return and rest in me. I have not called you to become noise among noise, but to become a presence that carries peace in the midst of chaos. I have not sent you so that you may prove yourself worthy, but so that you may reveal that grace can turn testing into mission, brokenness into compassion, and a life that once trembled into a lamp standing firm in the night. My child, what I have begun within you is not only for you. It will touch the people you meet, the places you pass through, and the souls waiting for a sign that I still heal, still restore, and still call human beings out of the ashes and into the light. Be faithful in the small step today, because from that very small step, I am opening a greater road in my eternal plan. My beloved child, discern deeply within your heart the difference between a step that comes from ambition and a step that is born from being sent. There are people who go because they are afraid of being left behind. People who run because they want to be seen. People who try to open doors by their own strength and gradually become exhausted from having to sustain what I never entrusted to them. But those who are sent by me are different. They do not merely carry a desire, they carry a holy command. They do not merely walk with their own feet, they walk in the breath of heaven. As the Father has sent me, I also send you. As John 20:21 says, is not a call for you to create your own path, but an invitation to step into the flow of my will. When you go on your own, you must carry the burden yourself. But when I send you, my grace upholds you. My word guides you. My presence covers you. And the things you cannot do by your own strength will be completed by my power. Therefore, do not rush into every place simply because a door appears to be open. There are doors that shine brightly but carry no peace. There are invitations that sound attractive but do not bear my mark. There are paths that excite the ego but leave the soul uneasy. The one who is sent does not chase opportunities. The one who is sent waits for my voice. The Lord will guide you continually. As Isaiah 58:11 says, is the word I place as a lamp for you, so that you may understand that my guidance is not only found in the destination, but also in every step along the way. When you allow me to direct you, you will not need to compete for position, force results, or grow weary trying to prove that you are worthy. You only need to be faithful to what I place before you, and all of heaven will work together with a heart that knows how to obey. Remember Philip, my child, when the gospel was spreading in Samaria and many people were being touched, my angel told him to rise and go south to the desert road that goes down to Gaza. Seen through human eyes, that was a difficult instruction to understand, to leave the crowded place, to leave a movement that was bearing fruit, and to go into a lonely road. But Philip did not argue with the sending. He went, and on that road that seemed empty, I had placed an Ethiopian man who was longing to understand the scriptures. Philip came near, explained Christ to him, and a soul was led into the light. Do you see? The place I send you may not look like the place you thought would bear fruit, But when you go in obedience, even a deserted road becomes the place where heaven has arranged to meet a soul. That is the difference between choosing your own journey and being sent by me. One seeks the crowd, while the other seeks my will. The things you have sown in tears will not remain forever beneath the deep soil. I know every prayer you once whispered when you had no strength left. Every promise you held on to through the long night. Every time you wondered whether the season of waiting would ever end. But my beloved child, my timing is not pressured by anxiety, nor is it delayed because I have forgotten. Those who sow in tears shall reap with shouts of joy. As Psalm 126:5 says, is the word I place over the seasons you thought held only loss. Tears do not ruin the seed. In my hands, tears can water what will rise at the right time. There are promises that need time to form deep roots. Dreams that must be buried through winter so that when they bloom, they no longer carry the scent of the ego, but the fragrance of grace. Do not call yourself delayed simply because you have not yet seen the fullness of what I have spoken. You are not forgotten in the silence. You have been covered in preparation. You have not been pushed aside. You have been set apart so that what is still tender within you may become stronger. The vision is yet for the appointed time. If it seems slow, wait for it. As Habakkuk 2:3 teaches you, means that waiting in me is not loss, but alignment with the clock of heaven. If I brought you out too soon, the very blessing could become a weight that causes you to tilt and fall. If I entrusted you with influence before your identity was healed, praise could lead you away from the source. Therefore, the seasons you thought were silent were actually the place where I was forming in you a peace deep enough to carry greater things without losing your soul. Now, as the new season begins to stir, I am not only calling you to receive blessing, but to become a blessing. What I have done within you is not only for you. The light I have kindled was not given so that you would hide it in a secret place and fear the darkness outside. That light was given to guide those who are lost, to bring truth into places that have been distorted, and to give grace a visible form through the way you love. Forgive, lift others up, and live uprightly. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of the one who brings good news. As Isaiah 52:7 says, does not praise self-exalting footsteps, but speaks of the beauty of one who brings peace into barren places. When you walk as one who has been sent, your very life becomes a declaration that I still heal, still restore, still turn ashes into a crown of beauty, and still transform trembling souls into witnesses of hope. You have passed through the fire, but the fire did not consume you. It made what I placed within you shine more brightly. You have walked through the night, but the night did not steal the dawn. It only taught you how precious the light truly is. The cracks that once made you ashamed can now become places where my light shines through. The things that once made you think you were weak can now become the language through which you understand those who are hurting. You no longer only ask why you had to suffer. You begin to say, Father, use this to bring life to someone. That is when testing becomes mission. Pain becomes healing oil. And your personal story is woven into the sacred story I have been writing from generation to generation. So step out, but step out in surrender. Shine, but do not try to take the glory. Speak, but let your words be bathed in love. Serve, but always remember that you are the vessel, and the oil is mine. You are the lamp, and the fire is mine. You are the one being sent, and the power belongs to me. Fan into flame the gift of God that is in you. As 2 Timothy 1:6 says, is the word I breathe over your soul today. Do not shrink back because you fear being wounded. Do not hide the light because you fear rejection. And do not return to the old season simply because the new one feels unfamiliar. I am in that new season, I go before you in the encounters, walk with you in the decisions, and stand behind you like a strong fortress. What I have sown, I will cause to bloom. What I have promised, I will complete. And when you live as one who has been sent, the world will not only see a person made stronger after testing, but will see me, the one who has turned tears into harvest, darkness into light, and your life into a torch, carrying the breath of the kingdom of heaven. My beloved child, a stirring has begun in the hidden depths of you, and though you have not yet found the words to name it, your soul still recognizes my footsteps. It does not come like a storm breaking every door open, nor like a trumpet sounding loudly in the middle of a crowd. It comes like a very gentle touch, like the first light slipping through the curtain before dawn fills the room. You thought it was only a strange feeling, an uneasiness whose source you could not understand. But I say to you, it is my invitation knocking on the deepest part of you. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. As Revelation 3:20 says, does not speak only of an outward door, but also of the door within the soul, the place you closed because of weariness, disappointment, and long seasons of living without feeling truly alive. I do not come to rebuke you for being weak. I come to awaken what I never allowed to die within you. There are days when you still do everything as usual, still answer, still smile, still continue your responsibilities. Yet inside there is a quiet emptiness no one can see. You have gone through mornings when you woke up with no fire in your heart, evenings when you lay down while your mind still felt heavy as stone, prayers spoken with your lips while your heart seemed to be standing far away. I know it all. My child, I know the moments when you thought you were only existing from one day to the next, like a lamp that still has its shape, but whose inner flame has grown too small. But I do not despise the remaining ember. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoking wick he will not quench. As Matthew 12:20 says, is the word I place over you today. I do not extinguish what is still weak. I bend down to breathe life into it once more. Do not mistake your weariness for the end of your calling. Sometimes the soul feels heavy not because you have lost me, but because you have carried too many things I never asked you to carry. You have tried to be strong for too long. I tried to understand everything for too long. Tried to keep peace for others while your own heart was becoming dry. You have loved, but sometimes forgotten to let me love you. You have served, but at times forgotten to sit still beside the spring of water. You have listened to too many voices demanding, judging, urging, comparing, until my voice seemed smaller in your awareness. But my voice has never disappeared. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. As John 10:27 reminds you, means that there is still a part within you that belongs to me, still recognizes me, still trembles when grace touches it, even though the noise of life has covered it many times. Remember the story of Samuel when he was still a child lying in the temple. At night, when everything had fallen into stillness and the lamp of God had not yet gone out, I called his name. Samuel did not understand immediately. He thought the voice had come from Eli, and it took several times before he learned how to answer. Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. Do you see? My call often does not begin with complete understanding, but with a gentle awakening in the night. I do not require you to know everything from the very first moment. I only want you to stop running from the stirring in your heart. Stop dismissing the whisper that is drawing you back, and learn to answer me with a tender heart. Father, I am listening. Perhaps you have wondered whether you were born for something deeper, Vita, and more real than these repeating days. I say to you, yes, But that deeper thing does not begin with you becoming impressive in the eyes of the world. It begins with you awakening before me. The hour has come for you to wake from sleep. As Romans 13:11 says, is a holy bell ringing for your soul. I am not calling you out of ordinary life so that you will despise small things, but so that you will live those small things with a new fire. A familiar task, when done in my presence, will no longer be meaningless. An ordinary day, when handed back to me, can become holy ground. A heart that once grew cold, when touched by me, can become a temple of new life. I have seen you fighting in silence. My beloved child, I have seen you still standing when inside you wanted to collapse. Still praying even when your prayer was only a sigh. Still choosing what is good even when you did not feel strong. Do not condemn yourself for the seasons when you do not burn as brightly as before. The holy fire does not always appear as a great blaze. Sometimes it lies deep beneath the ashes, waiting for my breath to make it rise again at the right time. The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life. As Job 33:4 says, is what I am doing within you. I am breathing into the places that have grown dry, into the dreams that have fallen silent, into the parts of you that you thought could no longer tremble before hope. Therefore, do not fear the awakening that is coming. It may cause you to look again at the things you have endured for too long, the layers of protection you have used to guard yourself, and the habits that have lulled your soul to sleep in a false sense of safety. But I am not awakening you to throw you into panic. I am awakening you to bring you back to true life. Just as I spoke to the dry bones in the valley through the prophet Ezekiel, I can also command breath to enter what seemed to have no hope left, so that dry bones may rise into a living army. What you call dryness, in my hands, can become the place where resurrection power is revealed. What you call emptiness, I can turn into space for grace to overflow. Let me speak gently to your heart. You have not lost the fire. You are being called to a purer flame. You have not been forgotten. You are being awakened from the layers of weariness that have covered your true identity. You were not born merely to drift through the days like a shadow. You were created to walk with me. Hear my voice, carry my light, and live by a love that the world cannot make cold. Today, place your hand upon your chest, not to ask in anxiety whether there is still anything more, but to listen to my answer in peace. Yes, my beloved, there is still more, far more than you think. I am here. I am the breath stirring within you, the call awakening you, the flame returning in the deepest place of your being. Open your heart, stay awake, and let me light you again. For the season of living as one asleep is closing, and the season of walking as one who is called is beginning. My beloved child, let this word enter you like cool water flowing through land that has been cracked for a long time. You are not loved because you are always strong, nor am I distant from you when you are weak. It is precisely in the hours when you think you have nothing left to offer that I draw nearer, because my love does not wait for you to become perfect before embracing you. When you collapse beneath the weight of long days, I do not stand far away and judge your slow steps. I bend down in compassion, place my hand beneath your arm, and remind you that the weary are not left behind by heaven. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. As Matthew 11:28 says, is not a call for souls who have made themselves strong enough, but for children who know they need to be carried. You ask me in silence, Father, are you still here? And I answer, not always with thunder, but with a gentle peace, enough to let your heart breathe again, enough to make the deepest part of you know that I have never left. Do not let the noise of the world determine the rhythm of your steps, because your life does not belong to the hurried hands of human beings, but to my eternal will. There are times when you think you have become dry and hardened, when you think the holy flame within you has gone out, when you think you can no longer feel what is sacred as you once did. But my child, I see something different. I see a land waiting for rain, a vessel being emptied to receive new oil, a soul being called into a depth beyond fragile emotion. We walk by faith, not by sight. As 2 Corinthians 5:7 reminds you, means that emotion is not the final compass of your life. There are days when you feel me very near, and there are days when all you can do is cling to the promise. But even when feelings change, my presence remains the unshakable rock. I am teaching you to live not only by a strong wave rising within your heart, but by a quiet river flowing deep, unseen, yet never running dry. Remember Elijah, the one who stood on Mount Carmel and saw my fire come down, yet afterward ran away in fear, sat under a broom tree, and asked to die. I did not rebuke him for being exhausted. I did not tell him to become strong immediately. I sent an angel to touch him, to give him bread and water, to let him sleep, eat, and then rise to continue the journey. Later, at Mount Horeb, I did not appear in the mighty wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire, but in a gentle, quiet whisper. Do you see? There are seasons when I do not awaken you through outward shaking, but through a whisper deep enough to pass through the weariness of your soul. If a prophet who once called fire down from heaven still needed to be nourished by me in weakness, then do not be ashamed when you need to rest in my arms. Your weariness does not make you lose your worth. It only reminds you to return to the source of life. Now I call you to awaken, but not to awaken so that you may rush out and prove your faith through haste. I call you to awaken so you may remember that you have a Father, that you have not been thrown into life like a leaf in the wind, and that your soul is more precious than every cold standard the world uses to measure success. To be awake is not to live tense and afraid. To be awake is to open your eyes to love, to recognize that I am present in every breath, every opportunity to love, every small act of obedience. Watch and pray. As Matthew 26:41 says, is not a threat, but an invitation for you not to let your soul fall asleep among familiar things. You were not created merely to get through the day. Finish your responsibilities and let your heart turn to stone. You were created to partner with heaven, so that my invisible light may have visible footsteps through your life, and so that wherever you pass, there may be traces of peace, mercy, and truth. I have placed within you a holy reminder, a gentle call of the Holy Spirit, not as loud as the crowd, but more enduring than every sound of the world. The Comforter does not force you by fear, but gently touches your heart when you stray, makes you uneasy before what does not belong to life, and draws you back before your heart grows completely cold. When the Spirit of truth comes, He will guide you into all truth. As John 16:13 says, is the assurance that you do not have to find your way through the darkness by your own strength. There is a light I have placed within you, a holy whisper still standing in the midst of unclear places, an invisible hand still keeping you from drifting too far. Today, that voice is calling. Do not live numb any longer. Do not let the days pass like sand falling through your fingers while your soul no longer trembles before what is sacred. And do not let weariness become the garment you wear forever. The return I invite you to step into is not a return to what is old, nor is it beginning again in shame as though everything has been lost. You are not returning to the past. You are returning to the source. You are returning to the truth that you belong to me before you belong to any role, title, failure, or success. In Him we live and move and have our being. As Acts 17:28 reminds you, means that your true life does not begin with the effort to build yourself up, but with being anchored again in me. When you remember that you belong to me, darkness loses the right to name you. When you remember that you are my beloved child, weariness is no longer allowed to rule your identity. When you remember that I am your Father, loneliness no longer has a throne in your heart. Hope will rise like the dawn, not because the night never existed, but because my light is always stronger than the night. So breathe with me. My beloved child, let every breath become a silent prayer. Every heartbeat become an answer, saying that you are still here, still willing to listen, still longing to live in my presence. I will soften the places that have grown hard, brighten the places that have grown dim, and bring back to life the things you thought had died beneath the ashes of disappointment. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. As Ezekiel 36:26 says, is what I am doing, not merely repairing the outside, but renewing the deepest hidden place. This journey does not begin with your own strength, but with my breath within you. You are not only called to exist, you are called to awaken. You are not only called to keep walking, you are called to walk with me. And I, the one who has loved you in your weakness, will go with you through every breath, every day, every season, until the light I placed within you burns again like a lamp no longer afraid of the dark. My beloved child, there are days when you still walk through life as though everything is fine, still complete what must be done, still smile when others ask about you, still say that you are okay. But I hear the very small sound of weariness in the deepest corner of your heart. I know you are tired of appearing strong, tired of carrying things that cannot be spoken, tired of merely getting through the days while your soul quietly thirsts for a holier stream than anything the world can give. I do not blame you for those empty places. I do not stand before you as one who merely counts your mistakes, but as a father bending down beside a child who has wandered from the source of life without even realizing it. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. As Matthew 11:28 says, is not a call for those who are already completely steady, but for souls who know they need to be carried. You do not need to prove that you are still okay. You only need to return to me, where true life begins to flow again. I call you to return, but not to return to a cold, the dry religious shell where the lips speak holy words while the heart remains distant. I call you back to the spring of living water, where silence is no longer a frightening emptiness, but a room filled with presence, where you do not have to strain yourself to have faith, because I am upholding the weakest part of you, where even every breath can become a prayer. Whoever believes in me, rivers of living water will flow from within them. As John 7:38 says, is what I desire to restore in you. For too long, you have drunk from waters that still left your soul thirsty. Recognition, achievement, hurried rhythms of life, and the voices out there telling you that you must do more, attain more, prove more. But I did not create you to dry up in the very things you thought would make you full. I created you to be watered by me. There were times when you thought the call of heaven was real, but surely meant for someone stronger, purer, and steadier than you. You thought I only chose those who did not tremble, did not doubt, and did not carry cracks within their hearts. But my child, I am not looking for vessels that believe they are already full. I am looking for vessels willing to open their mouths so that I may pour oil into them. I did not choose you because you are sufficient in yourself, I chose you because I am the one who is sufficient within you, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit. As Zechariah 4:9 says, is the word I place like light upon your weakness. True strength is not found in hands that grip everything tightly for fear of losing control, but in hands opened before me, knowing that the roots of their life are not planted in their own strength, but deeply rooted in the faithfulness of the Father. Remember Gideon, my beloved child. When I called him, he was not standing on a mountaintop with the appearance of a hero. He was threshing wheat in a hidden place, hiding from the threat of Midian, his heart full of fear and a sense of smallness. But my angel came to him and called him a mighty man of valor. Do you see? I did not call him according to what he felt about himself. I called him according to what I had placed within him. Then, when I used him to deliver my people, I even reduced the number of his army to only 300 men, so that the victory could not be mistaken as the achievement of human strength. In the same way, I can step into the place where you are hiding, the place where you think you are not enough, and call forth an identity you have forgotten. I am not limited by your fear. I only need a heart that knows how to say, if you go with me, I will step forward. You do not have to fight like a lonely soul thrown into darkness. Do not let the habit of self-protection make you think you must defeat every fear by earthly determination. I do not call you to strain yourself in panic. I call you to stand still in the light. When I am present, darkness loses its place to dwell. When I speak peace, the storm no longer has the right to rule within you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. As Hebrews 13:5 says, is not only a gentle comfort, but a steadfast covenant that remains standing even when your knees are trembling. You do not need to create courage within yourself first before coming to me. Come to me with the truth of your trembling, and you will see that grace is not ashamed to lift a tender heart. There is one thing I want you to hear deeply. Your heart was not created to turn into stone. It was created to feel my kingdom, to tremble before truth, to soften when love touches it, to weep not because it is lost, but because life is returning. The stage you are standing in is not a place of death, even if it feels heavy and unclear. It is a place of transition, the birthing room of the soul, where the old is no longer enough and the new has not yet fully appeared. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, all things have become new. As 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, is not merely a beautiful sentence, but the work I am carrying out in your depths. The pressure you feel is not always a sign that you are falling apart. Sometimes it is the sign that new life is pushing through the old soil in order to rise. I am plowing the soil of your heart again, not to cause you needless pain, but so that the seed that has been sleeping may have room to breathe. I am moistening the dry places, softening the hardened regions, and bringing light to the corners that had grown dim because of disappointment. You think you are moving backward, but in my eyes, you are being drawn deeper so that the roots of your faith may hold more firmly. One day, the fire within you will not only flare up because of a strong passing emotion, it will burn from a nature that has been renewed. You will not love me only when your heart overflows, when music moves you, or when circumstances are favorable. You will love me like breathing, quietly, honestly, and steadfastly. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. As Ezekiel 36:26 says, is the word I am breathing into you today. Return, my beloved child, not to shame, but to the source. I am here, and I will teach your heart to live again. My beloved child, rise first, not with your feet, but from the deepest place of your soul. I have not come merely to soothe your pain for a moment and then leave you to continue living with your head bowed beneath the old shadow. I have come to restore within you the holy dignity I placed in you before you even knew how to name yourself. You do not have to manufacture strength by a weary will. You only need to remember that the source of that strength does not begin with you, but with me. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in him. As Psalm 28:7 reminds you, means that true strength is not the roar of a heart that knows no fear, but the steadiness of a soul that knows it is being kept. When I am within you, darkness no longer has the right to write your name. Fear no longer has the right to guide your steps. And every lie that once tried to make you shrink must fall silent before my seal upon your life. I want to correct for you the meaning of life, because the world has taught you for too long that living simply means finishing your responsibilities, getting through another day, keeping pace with the crowd, hiding your exhaustion, and calling that maturity. But my child, life is not meant to be the soul gradually growing cold inside a crowded schedule that lacks my presence. To live is to open your eyes each morning and say to me with a tender heart, Father, I am here. That answer may be very small, unheard by anyone and recognized by no one. But in the heavenly realm, it resounds like a covenant. It is your agreement for me to step into your day, reorder what is tangled, light up what has grown dim, and do what you cannot do by your own strength. In him we live and move and have our being. As Acts 17:28 says, is not a distant idea, but the true breath of your life. You live most deeply when you are in me. There are ordinary things that will become holy when your eyes are opened. A slow step along a familiar road can become a walk with me. A quiet pause in the middle of the day can become a hidden altar where your soul is watered again. A ray of late afternoon sunlight is not only the changing color of the sky, but a reminder that I am still holding the whole universe by tireless faithfulness. A gentle word you give to someone is not merely courtesy, but may become a small vessel of grace, touching a heart that is exhausted. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord. As Colossians 3:23 says, we'll turn the small tasks of the day into holy offerings. When you live with the awareness that I am near, ordinary life is no longer ordinary. It becomes the ground where my kingdom touches down through every loving choice, every act of forgiveness, and every quiet deed of faithfulness. Remember David, my beloved child. Before he stood before Goliath in the valley, he lived many nameless days in the wilderness, tending the sheep, carrying his harp, keeping watch, and fighting lions and bears when no crowd was there to witness it. In human eyes, those days were only the small work of a young shepherd, but in my eyes, they were the school of courage. In the place where no one applauded, I trained his hands for a greater battle. In the place where there was only the wind of the fields and the sound of sheep, I taught him that the living God is stronger than every giant. Therefore, do not look down on the place where you are standing today. It may not be radiant. It may not be named. It may not look like the stage you once imagined. But if I have placed you there, then that place can be a holy wilderness, where I am preparing within you a steadiness that tomorrow will require. You are the lamp I am tending, not so that you may try to shine dazzlingly by your own strength, but so that you may be faithful with the oil I pour into you. A lamp does not need to shout in order to prove that it is bright. It only needs to be in the right place. Keep its wick clean and receive the oil. I am doing the same within you, little by little, surely and deeply. I do not always pour oil through great events that overwhelm you. Many times I pour it through a gentle reminder in your heart, a moment of peace that cannot be explained, a tear that softens what had grown hard, a time when you choose not to react from an old wound. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoking wick he will not quench. As Isaiah 42:3 says, "Is my tenderness toward you? I do not extinguish the weak flame, I bend down, shield it from the wind, and breathe new life into it until it burns again with a purer light." Do not try to become the image others expect you to be. Do not let their expectations dress you in a garment that does not fit your soul. You are not late, nor are you on the wrong path simply because your journey does not match the pace of others. I am rebuilding you from the foundation, not so that you may appear strong outwardly while being empty within, but so that you may become steady from the deepest place. He has made everything beautiful in its time. As Ecclesiastes 3:11 reminds you, means that my timing is not as hurried as your anxiety, nor as delayed as your doubt imagines. Breathe in me. Open your heart before me. Remain where I have called you. Do what I have placed in your hands. And let what belongs to heaven be completed by heaven. You do not need to strain yourself to control every outcome. You only need to be faithful to my voice today. Now I speak to the deepest part of you. You do not belong to the fear that has pursued you. You do not belong to the accusations that once made you lower your face. And you do not belong to the darkness that tried to convince you that you are small and useless. You belong to me. He has sealed us and given us the Spirit in our hearts as a guarantee. As 2 Corinthians 1:22 says, "Is the testimony that your life bears, my mark, and what I have sealed. No power can remove." When you step into a dark place, you do not walk as a lonely one searching for the way. You walk as one who carries light. Light is not afraid of darkness, because darkness exists only until light is present. So stand upright in your soul, not in pride, but in the holy assurance that the Father is within you. Let this day become the point where you remember who you are. You are not a wandering breath lost among the crowd, but a life I had in mind before time had a name. You do not merely exist to get through the years. You are called to live as a place where I dwell, as my hand touching others, as a small voice carrying peace into noisy places. When you know that you belong to me, you will no longer be pulled away by every voice out there. When you know that I am the source, you will no longer be so thirsty that you drink from waters that leave you even drier. Remain in me, my beloved child. Walk gently, yet firmly, brightly, yet humbly, strongly, yet tenderly. I chose you in love. I am keeping you in grace. And I will cause my light within you to rise, not only for you, but also to guide souls who are searching for a sign that heaven is still near, still alive, still loving, and still making all things new. My beloved child, let this truth go deeper than every passing emotion. Darkness does not tremble before the volume of a voice, but before a soul that knows clearly to whom it belongs. The adversary is not terrified because you try to appear strong, but because you stand firm in the knowledge that I am your Father, the one who has called your name, washed you clean, sealed you, and kept you in my hand. When you know that you are my beloved child, shame loses the right to rule. When you know that you have been forgiven, the past no longer has the right to pull your head down. When you know that the blood of grace has covered your life, old failures are no longer allowed to define you. So, if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. As John 8:36 says, is not only a word of comfort, but a declaration of kingdom authority. You do not need to feel free first before you believe. Recognize that you have already been made free in me. And that very recognition will raise you to your feet even while your emotions are still trembling. I am restoring to you the holy posture that fear once tried to steal. Not the posture of pride, not the posture of wanting to prove yourself above others, but the posture of a soul that has stopped shrinking before old accusations. You no longer have to lower your face because of the season that has passed. For what I have forgiven no longer has a throne of judgment over your life. Even am he who blots out your transgressions for my own sake, and remembers your sins no more. As Isaiah 43:25 says, is the word I place like a white garment upon your soul. If I no longer use your past to call your name, then do not allow darkness to repeat it like chains. You have been washed, restored, and placed back on the holy path, not because you have never been weak, but because my grace is stronger than everything that once made you fall. In the days ahead, what I do within you may not be as loud as you imagined. It will not always come through outward signs that shine brightly, but through a quiet steadiness rising within you. You will find yourself reacting less to the words of others, trembling less before circumstances, needing less to prove yourself, and seeking less validation from places that cannot nourish your soul. True authority is often like an invisible mantle, light yet weighty, quiet yet unmistakable, needing no display. While the realm of darkness still recognizes my seal, I have given you authority to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy. As Luke 10:19 says, is not meant to make you live aggressively, but to teach you to walk in the peace of one who knows they are not alone. My power within you does not need to boast, it only needs to remain in the right position, within a surrendered heart. Remember Esther, my beloved child. She did not enter the king's palace with the noise of arrogance, nor did she save her people by the strength of swords. She had been placed in a position she herself did not fully understand at first. And when the appointed time came, she chose to fast, humble herself, seek help, and step into danger with a surrendered declaration, if I perish, I perish. It was that humility and obedience that opened the way for a miraculous reversal, causing Haman's scheme to collapse and my people to be delivered. Do you see? Esther's authority was not in trying to impress anyone, but in knowing how to stand at the right time, in the right calling, under my covering. In the same way, I am not training you so the world will marvel at you. I am training you so that when you walk in my will, darkness must retreat because it recognizes the one who is with you. But you must remember the secret of power. Authority comes from surrender, and true strength is born where knees know how to bow. Kneeling before me does not make you lowly in shame. It places you in the right position to receive strength that does not come from the flesh. When you humble yourself under my mighty hand, I lift you above the things that seek to weigh down your soul. Humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may lift you up in due time. As 1 Peter 5:6 says, is a path opposite to the world but right before heaven. The world tells you to build your own throne. I teach you to kneel, so you may receive a mantle, untouched by the dust of pride. The world tells you to hold tightly to control. I teach you to open your hands, so that my peace may become a fortress around you. Do not despise the season when you feel weak, because many times that is the season when I am removing false armor from you. There are layers of protection you once thought were strength, but in truth, they were only fear dressed in hardness. There were ways you defended yourself, strained yourself, and tried to control everything that helped you survive for a certain part of the road. But they no longer fit the person I am making new within you. I am replacing self-reliance with dependence on me, old reactions with wisdom, tension with peace, and the garment of shame with the armor of truth. Put on the full armor of God. As Ephesians 6:11 says, is not a call for you to live in fear of darkness, but an invitation for you to stand firm in truth, righteousness, faith, salvation, and my word. The armor I give does not harden your heart. It protects you so you can love without being ruled by darkness. I did not create you to live as one who merely endures, always asking fear for permission before stepping forward, always shrinking back because of limits I did not place upon you. You were born to become a testimony that I still move in the dust of the earth, still place fire inside earthen vessels, and still make lives that once trembled become dwelling places of light. We have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this surpassing power is from God and not from us. As 2 Coríntios 4:7 reminds you, means that your frailty does not make my power smaller. On the contrary, it makes clear that the glory belongs to me. You are not great because you have no limits. You are strong because the one within you has no rival. Therefore, let me change the way you stand in the world. When you walk in obedience, it is not only your feet that are moving. My presence goes with you. When you love those who are difficult to love, the current of heaven touches the earth. When you forgive what you could have held on to as a debt, invisible chains begin to break. When you worship through tears, darkness cannot endure. The light of a soul that still chooses to exalt me in the midst of pain. The one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. As 1 John 4:4 says, is the banner I place over your life. Do not stand in fear anymore. My beloved child, stand in knowing you belong to me. You are covered by me. You are sent by me. And where I have placed light, no night can rule forever. My beloved child, there are seasons when you look back and think that inside you there is only a dry land left, with no prayer beautiful enough, no emotion strong enough, and nothing worthy enough to place before me. But my child, I do not despise dry ground. It is often in dry ground that I open the deepest springs. What you call exhaustion, in my hands, can become the beginning of a new stream. What you thought had died, I can still call back to life by my breath of resurrection. I will open rivers on the bare heights and springs in the valleys. I will make the wilderness a pool of water. As Isaiah 41:18 says, is not only a word for the desert outside, but a word I speak into the desert within your heart. I do not need you to be always blazing, always strong, always able to present me with a faith that never trembles. I love you in your truth, even when you only have enough strength to whisper, Father, I am here. Do not think that your weak cry cannot reach my ears. Heaven does not listen only to loud prayers. Heaven also hears the sighs your mouth has not yet been able to form into words. There are tears that fall in silence, yet before me they shine like jewels, because they carry no performance, no garment of pretense, only a heart that truly needs its Father. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. As Psalm 34:18 says, is the word I place over the days when you can no longer pretend to be strong. I do not require you to wear a mask of holiness in order to come near to me. I want you to be real, real in your weariness, real in your small hope, real in the weakness that has not yet been fully healed, because it is precisely where you stop hiding that my love can touch the deep places you once closed off. Remember Hagar in the wilderness, my beloved child. She carried Ishmael through the desert. The water in the skin was gone. Human strength was gone as well. And she placed the child under a bush and sat at a distance because she could not bear to watch her son die. She thought everything had reached its end, that only crying and burning heat remained over their fate. But I heard the voice of the child. My angel called to Hagar from heaven, opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water right there in the place she thought held only death and dryness. Do you see? Many times. The water has not been absent from my preparation. Your eyes have simply been too wounded, too weary, too afraid to see it. Do not be afraid, for God has heard the voice of the boy. As Genesis 21:17 says, is also my word to you. I hear the weakest part within you. I see the place where you have sat down in exhaustion. And I can open your eyes to recognize that grace has been nearer than you thought. Now let my peace soak into you, not like a forceful wind, but like healing oil slowly spreading over what has been cracked. Do not rush to measure whether you are better yet. Do not force your heart to recover in a single moment. Let me touch each small place, each memory that still aches, each thought that once made you tense, each fear that made you believe you had to hold everything together by yourself. My peace does not come to cover the wound, but to heal it from the root. The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. As Philippians 4:7 reminds you, means that true peace does not need every question to be answered before it can be present. It is my arms placed around your mind, a warm stream flowing into your soul, the assurance that you no longer have to live between striving and fear as though your life were an exam that never ends. You were created for communion, not for a dry and rigid religious burden. I do not call you to me like a cold examiner calling someone who must prove their ability, but like a father calling his child home. In me, you learn another rhythm of life. I lead, and you follow. I give, and you open your heart to receive. I embrace, and you stop resisting. I kindle the fire, and you allow yourself to be lit. Abide in me, and I in you. As John 15:4 says, is the secret of lasting life. The branch does not strain itself to bear fruit. It bears fruit because it remains in the vine. In the same way, you do not have to keep the fire alive with your trembling hands. The fire belongs to me. The oil belongs to me. Life belongs to me. Your part is to remain, to keep a tender heart, and to let grace do what your own strength cannot. Lean into me in your spirit. Like a child resting its head on the chest of a father it knows will never push it away. Do not calculate how much you have accomplished. Do not measure how much you still lack. And do not ask whether you are worthy to rest in that love. You were loved before you ever did anything for me. You were called my child before you proved yourself useful. I have loved you with an everlasting love. As Jeremiah 31:3 says, is the foundation beneath every step you take. The world teaches you that standing alone is strength, but I teach you that knowing how to lean on me is wisdom. When you lean, strength does not come from the tension of your will, but from the quiet current of love lifting you from within. My love can heal what your mind only knows how to analyze. My love can soften what time has hardened. My love can raise you to your feet without you needing to shout that you are strong. Therefore, if today you feel weak, do not panic. That weakness is not proof that I have moved away from you many times. It is the doorway through which you stop holding yourself up and allow me to carry you. When you no longer have the strength to shield your heart with hardness, I can hold it more gently. When you stop running to find love, you will realize that love was already there. When you stop trying to convince me that you are worthy of mercy, you will hear me say that you have been loved from eternity. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. As 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, does not lower you, but frees you from the burden of always having to shine brightly. Breathe in me, my beloved child. Let your heart become soft again. Let the rain of grace fall upon dry ground. I am digging a well in the place you thought was only exhaustion, rekindling life in the place you thought had grown cold, and teaching you that being loved by me is not a reward for the strong, but a home for the child who knows how to return. My beloved child, when the waves within your heart have begun to grow still, do not rush to stand up and throw yourself back into the old rhythm, and do not hurry to find something to prove that you are better. Remain a little longer in this quietness, because when the lake of the soul stops trembling, my light is reflected most clearly. I do not bring you a harsh light that frightens you or makes you turn your face away. I bring the light of dawn, warm, gentle gold, patient, spreading layer by layer through the dark places that have lived within you for too long. As it is written, God, who said, "Let light shine out of darkness," has shone in our hearts. In 2 Corinthians 4:6, I am doing that very thing within you, not only shining upon the surface, but entering the places you once thought no one could ever touch. You have rested your head upon my heart. Now I gently lift you up, not so that you may run, but so that you may learn to see with eyes that have been healed. Let your spiritual vision open like a flower unfolding beneath the morning sun, without force, without tension, without fear that you are not holy enough to see what I desire to reveal. My light does not come through pressure, it comes through presence. The more you remain in me, the clearer the eyes of your heart become. May the eyes of your heart be enlightened. As Ephesians 1:18 says, is what I am doing in your life, so that you may not only know about me as a distant idea, but recognize me as the true living environment of your soul. You were not created to wander forever in the dimness of confusion, where you both believe and fear, hope and grow weary. You are called into clear light, where you know to whom you belong, know which voice is mine, know which step is born from peace, and know what is only noise trying to pull you away from life. You must understand that walking with me is not merely trying to become kinder in the eyes of the world. Walking with me is living awake, living as one who knows that an invisible kingdom is moving beneath everything visible. When you speak, your words are no longer only passing sounds, but can become small vessels carrying life. When you look at a person, you no longer see only their appearance, mistakes, or attitude, but begin to recognize a soul that needs to be loved, called home, and touched by me. When you are silent, that silence is no longer emptiness, but a stillness with weight, because your heart is no longer being pushed around by falsehood. In your light, we see light. As Psalm 36:9 reminds you, means that only when you are in me can you see rightly yourself, others, life, and the hidden battle that natural eyes cannot discern. Remember Elisha's servant in the city of Dothan. One morning, he looked out and saw the enemy army surrounding the city, with horses and chariots everywhere, and his heart immediately trembled because what his natural eyes could see seemed so great. But Elisha did not panic, because he was seeing by another level of light. He prayed, "Lord, open his eyes so that he may see." And when the servant's eyes were opened, he saw the hills full of my horses and chariots of fire surrounding Elisha. As told in 2 Kings 6:17. Do you see? The outward circumstances did not immediately change, but the way of seeing was changed, and when vision was changed, fear lost its throne. I am opening your eyes in the same way, not so that you may deny the difficulties before you, but so that you may see that what surrounds you and me is greater than what is against you. Therefore, my beloved child, do not live as one who is only pulled along by what can be seen. There are doors not yet opened, but I have already placed the key within the appointed time. There are promises not yet formed, but I have already planted the seed in the soil. There are battles in which you feel as though you are alone, but in truth, heaven has surrounded you with unshakable faithfulness. When your eyes are opened, you will no longer call slowness abandonment, no longer call silence absence, and no longer call the season of preparation failure. You will begin to recognize my mark in the small details, a peace that comes beyond reason, a gentle reminder that keeps you from the wrong path, a meeting that seems accidental yet opens the way for healing. An ordinary afternoon, when your heart suddenly knows that I am still holding all things. I want you to live as one who belongs to the light, not a light that shows itself off, but a light that knows its source. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. As John 8:12 says, is the word I place beneath your feet today. If you follow me, you do not need to understand every part of the road in order to walk rightly. If you remain in me, you do not need to see the whole picture in order to believe that my hand does not make mistakes. The light of life does not only help you avoid darkness, it makes you a sign that darkness is not the final power. Where you enter with a surrendered heart, I can bring peace. Where you listen with love, I can bring healing. Where you stand firm in truth, false things will gradually fall away like dry leaves no longer able to cling to the branch. So open the eyes of your heart, but also keep your heart tender. True light does not make you proud, it makes you more humble, because you know that your ability to see does not come from your own wisdom, but from my grace shining within you. You no longer live like a sleepwalker in the world, letting the days pass while your soul never touches what is sacred. You are learning to live as one who is awake, one who knows that every breath can be a place of encounter. Every small task can be an act of obedience, and every person before you can be a soul I love deeply. Let my light continue to spread within you, slowly but surely, gently yet powerfully. Then you will see that it is not only the sky outside that changes color, but the world within you is also being touched by dawn. And as you walk in that light, your life will no longer be merely a series of days spent existing. It will become a place where my kingdom touches the earth, where my invisible presence takes shape through your eyes, your words, your silence, your mercy, and every surrendered step you take. My beloved child, when my light begins to awaken in the deepest place within you, the old darkness no longer needs a loud battle in order to be defeated. Darkness has no throne of its own when true light enters. It only exists where truth has not yet been recognized. Therefore, do not use your own strength to wrestle with memories that have grown old. Do not try to strangle fear by willpower. And do not force your soul to forget everything that once wounded you. Let me shine. Let truth rise within you. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. As John 1:5 says, is not only a word about the world, but also a word I speak into the hidden rooms of your heart. When you look at the past through eyes washed in grace, what once was a thorn will no longer rule over you. It becomes a mark of the place where I entered, healed, and made you understand that darkness cannot overcome a soul willing to open the door to light. I am not calling you only to leave the old behind. I am also inviting you to step into a new life that is deeper, purer, and more steadfast. My light does not only expose chains so you can be free, it also shows you how you were created to live. Not as a life always trying to impress, always needing to prove its holiness with loud words, but as a life with quiet depth, with compassion that knows how to see others through my eyes, with a peace that does not need the approval of the crowd. You are the light of the world. As Matthew 5:14 says, is not a command for you to seek a stage, but an affirmation that the light within you has the purpose of guiding the way. You have not only been drawn out of darkness so that you may be safe, you have been placed in the light to become a sign that grace is still making new what human beings thought was ruined. From now on, begin each day not with the burden of, "I must be able to do this," but with the gentle truth, "I am here." That sentence is not loud, but it has the power to rebuild an entire soul. When you breathe in that awareness, the atmosphere around you changes, not because you are trying to control it, but because my presence is being received by you. He is in us, and we are in him. As 1 John 4:13 says, is a mystery not only for the hour of prayer, but for every step, every silence, every breath in ordinary life. You will learn that presence does not pull you away from the world. It makes you live more truly in the midst of the world. It makes you gentler without being weak, brighter without being proud, deeper without becoming cold, and closer without losing holiness. A person filled with light is not someone who escapes from life, but someone who walks through life without allowing darkness to steal their identity. Remember the story of Moses when he entered the tent of meeting to meet with me. He did not go there to perform before the people, nor did he enter as someone seeking praise. He entered the place of presence, listened, remained, and when he came out, his face shone so brightly that the people of Israel recognized that he had met with God. That light was not something he created by himself. It was the mark of nearness. And the word in 2 Corinthians 3:18 says that we, beholding the glory of the Lord as in a mirror, are being transformed into his image from glory to glory. Do you see? True transformation does not begin with the effort to force yourself to become different, but with remaining close enough for my glory to quietly leave its imprint upon you. When you live in me, light is no longer something you have to pretend to possess. It becomes the natural fragrance of a soul that has been touched. Now I invite you into a deeper place, not through the tension of a mind that wants to analyze everything, but through the softness of a soul that knows how to receive. There are holy things that do not need to be explained immediately. They need to be remained in, absorbed, and allowed to become the atmosphere you breathe. Imagine yourself standing in the holy place, where the light does not glare so brightly that it frightens you, but rests quietly like oil upon the altar, warm like breath over cold stone, gentle enough that truth only needs a light touch to be engraved deeply upon your heart. Be still and know that I am God. As Psalm 46:10 says, is the doorway into this place. There, you do not need to strain yourself in order to feel something great. The stillness itself is the sign that you are hearing rightly. The quieting of your soul is the evidence that it has stopped resisting and has begun to trust. You do not stand far from the holy place like someone only allowed to look in from the outside. The veil of separation was torn when my son gave his life, and the way into my presence was opened by love. We have confidence to enter the most holy place by the blood of Jesus. As Hebrews 10:19 says, does not mean that you enter because of merit, because of worthiness, or because you have never stumbled. You enter because I have opened the way. Therefore, do not stand outside the door in shame, and do not think you must make yourself clean enough before you can come near. Let my love dissolve the distance. Let the blood of grace speak over every accusation. Let your soul understand that your home is not in the outer court, but in the presence of the Father. In that place, the voice of the world no longer has the same power to interrupt. The voices of comparison, pressure, condemnation, anxiety, and competition remain outside the threshold, because they cannot live in the atmosphere of truth. I do not speak to you in order to push you to run faster, but to fill you. I do not shine my light upon you so that you may become proud, but so that you may be delivered from the dimness of half belief and half fear. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? As Psalm 27:1 says, will become a new heartbeat within you. When I am your light, you no longer have to tremble before the night. When I am your salvation, the past no longer has the right to make you lower your face. When I am your atmosphere, life is no longer a burden to endure, but a holy companionship in every second. So remain in this light. My beloved child, do not rush to turn it into a new task, and do not try to hold on to it through the fear of losing it. My light is not as fragile as emotion. It has eternal roots within you, like a tree planted beside streams of water, like the dawn that never breaks its promise no matter how long the night has been. Let every breath become worship, every silence become an altar, every step become a response to love. You do not need to polish yourself in order to be seen by me. I have already seen you, loved you, called you, and I am causing what is true within you to grow. Once my light has entered, it will not leave you like a passing memory. It will spread wider, deeper, gentler, and stronger, until your life becomes a place where others can feel that heaven is not far away, that presence is real, and that my love is still turning every darkness into dawn. My beloved child, what you are tasting in this hidden place is not a passing emotion, nor a moment of comfort that will disappear when the noise of life returns. It is a holy remembrance that I am placing within your soul. Before the world taught you to fear, before disappointments blurred your vision, before burdens caused your heart to forget the rhythm of peace, you were created to be in me, to live by me, and to know me as the source of breath nearer than anything you can touch. In him we live and move and have our being. As Acts 17:28 says, is not only a scripture for you to reflect on, but the true foundation of your existence. The freedom I give is not the freedom to chase every desire of the heart, but the freedom of being so filled that the emptiness within no longer controls you. It is not cold numbness, but holy fullness, not peace because you are exhausted, but peace because the soul has found its home again. Some people think power must come with loud noise, strong signs, and declarations that echo far and wide, but my child, I often place the deepest power in stillness that has been sanctified. When your heart abides in me, darkness can no longer find a language with which to threaten you. When you hide yourself under the shadow of my wings, you do not need to build defensive walls out of anxiety, because my presence itself is the fortress around you. Whoever dwells in the secret place of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. As Psalm 91:1 says, is the word I am covering you with like a mantle of peace. You do not need to strain yourself to search for me as though I were somewhere far away. You only need to stop leaving the place where your heart knows I am present. Simply return with a tender breath, with a simple remembrance. The Father is here, and I am in the Father. In that holy place, noisy thoughts are no longer allowed to sit on the throne. Anxiety may knock at the door, but it is no longer the master of the house. Questions may still remain, but they no longer rule your soul. I do not call you to walk with me as someone who must prove they are great enough, but as someone who has already been loved, called, and placed within the flow of grace. I am the way, the truth, and the life. As John 14:6 reminds you, means that you do not need to draw every turn of the road with your weary understanding. When you are in me, you are not only shown the way, I myself become the way within you, leading you by peace, teaching you by light, and keeping you from the turns that are born from fear. That light does not merely shine from the outside to pull you forward. I kindle it within your heart so that from there it may spread into every step you take. Remember Moses, after he had been on the mountain with me. He did not know that his face was shining when he came down among the people, because that light was not something he had created or tried to display. It was the trace of my presence. He had been with me, had listened to me, had stood in the holy place. And when he returned to ordinary life, that light followed him without needing an announcement. In the same way, my beloved child, when you remain in me long enough, others will sense something different in you even before you say, very much. They may not understand why the peace within you is not hurried, why your eyes do not condemn, why your words are few, yet carry weight, why you love without needing to use love to prove your worth. The answer is not found in your performance. It is found in the fragrance of my presence soaking through your life. Therefore, do not try to hold on to the light with a tense will, like someone afraid of losing a fragile gift. My light does not disappear simply because you are tired one day, nor does it leave you simply because the noise of life sometimes becomes louder than the voice within. Whenever you are swept into the hurried rhythm, return through remembrance. Just one quiet moment, one breath calling Father, one gentle bowing of the heart, and the inner door opens again. Your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. As 1 Corinthians 6:19 says, is not a word meant to burden you, but a reminder that I have chosen your very life as my dwelling place. You do not have to live as someone torn between heaven and earth. You have been made a place of union, where my invisible presence can touch the visible world through mercy, patience, pure words, and guided steps. But from this holy place, I do not call you to hide from life. I do not draw you into peace so that you may close the door on those who need light. I place my hand upon your shoulder and say, carry what you have received into the small tasks of tomorrow. Do not go out as someone who must do something great immediately. Go out as someone who has just been embraced, remembered, and led back to the source. When you open your eyes in the morning, do not let the first word in your heart be self-accusation or the pressure to complete everything. Let the new day begin with this truth. I was already here before you woke. The Lord's mercies are new every morning. As Lamentations 3:23 says, will make your day no longer a list of burdens, but an empty vessel for me to fill with love. Then you will see ordinary things change color beneath my light. When you wash your face, think of your soul also being made clear again, so that light may pass through. When you step out the door, walk as one who leaves the temple court, yet still carries the sanctuary within. When you meet someone difficult to love, remember that I can use your gentleness like a small ray of light piercing through their defenses. When you remain silent instead of responding from an old wound, that silence can become an altar. Let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. As Matthew 5:16 says, does not teach you to seek attention, but to live in such a way that others look through you and recognize me. My beloved child, walk gently, but do not walk weakly. Live deeply, but do not become distant from life. Be at peace, but do not become passive. I do not give you rest so that you will stop growing, but so that you will grow from a root that no longer trembles. If the noise of life still sounds tomorrow, do not panic. It simply no longer has the right to rule. If responsibilities still wait for you, do not let your heart grow heavy. I will go with you in each task. My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. As Exodus 33:14 says, is the word I place beneath every step you take. Keep this remembrance in your heart. You do not step out of my presence when you step into life. You carry my presence with you. And wherever you go in surrender, that place can become holy ground, because I am in you. I go before you, and I will cause the light within you to grow quietly in a way that no darkness can extinguish.